back for Arfield. 1-0 Burnley. Scott Arfield. He's been threatening that recently. And all the Burnley players run to the Darwin end. Oh, what a goal! What a goal from Robbie Blake! Burnley's first goal in the Premier League is something very, very special.
So Burnley through to the next round of the Carabao Cup. 1-0 win over Shrewsbury on Tuesday night. Not quite the performance that fans were looking for, considering the easier win over them in pre-season. Win's a win though, and the chance of silverware, albeit quite small, remains well and truly intact. As far as the main talking points go, a lot of impressed fans with Darko Cherlinov after his move from Stuttgart last week. Didn't play too well when he came on against Blackpool on Saturday. Incidentally, obviously his substitution coincided with Blackpool's two late goals, which scuppered the chances of a victory. But he took the game by the scruff of the neck, always looked to advance to the final third, positivity, impact, and that's what Vincent Kompany might need to really ignite his Burnley career after what was a promising start. It's turned into quite a mediocre, sort of unimpressive start. Another thing, also potentially an avenue back into the side for Matthew Loughton. Always seen him as being comfortable on the ball, especially with Vincent Kompany's new style of play. He might not have the legs anymore, but he's a solid backup option, and as a Premier League defender for the last 7 years, I do see him as more trustworthy than Connor Roberts, it must be said, who hasn't really developed on his defending at his time at Burnley, despite being adventurous and looking to always create opportunities and stuff. There are still problems, obviously, having all that possession against a team who are a division below and not really being able to capitalise, bar a deflected strike in like the early parts of the second half, doesn't really fill fans with the confidence that you can go and break teams down in the Championship. It almost seems as though teams are picking up on how Kompany wants to play, over 60% possession at the very minimum in every game since he joined. They're happy to just sit back and flood the centre of defence, which means that Burnley can't play around. You can whip as many crosses into the box as you want, but with only really Jay Rodriguez, who's shown that he's capable of scoring goals at the moment. Ashley Barnes looks like he couldn't hit a barn door at the moment. Other options are needed. Scott Twine obviously has to come back from injury, but if you look at the goals that Burnley have scored since that opening day win against Huddersfield, who had absolutely no idea how Burnley were going to play, they've all been moments of magic. Josh Brownhill's stunner against Luton and his stunner against Blackpool, and then Nathan Teller with, his second goal was a great finish, and the first was Taylor Harwood-Bellis's brilliance, whipping the ball over the top. And the sort of moments goals, it's a bit like Manchester United last season in that there wasn't really cohesion there. There was just sort of, we'll see what happens. The only goal that's really gone against that grain is Jay's goal against Hull. So it might be that Kompany needs a plan B, but obviously might be being too critical there. A win's a win through to the next round, and we'll see how it goes against Wigan.
Good to see Burnley progress into the next round of the, I nearly called it Carling Cup then, the Carabao Cup. I honestly didn't realise how we'd be, because obviously over the last few years we haven't really taken the Cup seriously. We've very rarely progressed, too far. I know we've got to the third round of the Carabao Cup before, it's not really that bad. But there's been some games where we play in the second round against like your Burtons, your Port Vale, even your Stanleys, and we've just been dreadful and not shown any sort of like signs of wanting to even be in the Cup. But obviously I know it's a new era, new manager, that sort of thing. So I was very interested on how we would approach it. And the team was, there was 8 changes, I think it was, off the top of my head. So there was a lot of changes. But I think the squad depth is a little bit better now. I'm not saying we have a better squad than what we did last season or the season before or at any point on the dice, really. Maybe last season, but that's a different debate. But the squad depth is better. We seem to have more positions with adequate or decent cover, like Lawton coming in for Roberts, for example. I'm not too sure there's any difference between them two or anything, but that's another debate. So I was pleased with that. I was pleased that we was able to show some decent squad depth. I was pleased that Darko got a start, looked lively on the ball, but still a little bit rusty for me. And I thought the same against Blackpool. But the game itself, Jesus, that first half was pretty tedious, weren't it? I mean, I know there wasn't much coverage around, but I think that was a good thing in the end. There was just not enough happening. Same old story for Burnley, though, wasn't it? All the possession, all the passes, 0 shots on target in that first half. It was not abysmal, but we need to learn to be better with possession. If we can't, and I mean this with the greatest respect to Shrewsbury, but if we can't turn 85% possession into shots on target, and I think at the time was about 400 passes, into shots on target and chances and good chances against Shrewsbury, then maybe we need to rethink it a little bit. But, I'm not saying I don't trust the process or anything. I do. I still trust the process. I still think there's a good team there. And I do still think eventually it will come good and it will click. I'm just starting to think it may take a little bit longer than I originally did. But obviously we got the win in the second half. We did look a little bit better on the ball in the second half, but still only the 1 shot on target, which went in. And to be honest, it was a bit of a fumble from the keeper, weren't it? He's got to be doing better than that. A decent hit from Bastian. Good power, forces the keeper in an awkward position, and that's why the keeper sort of like parries it into his own net. So, we've done well to get the win, I think. Look at Watford, they went out against Crawley, so, that could have easily been us. I'm pleased we've got the win. Well, having said that, I'm going to say that I'm not too sure if I want a cup run or not, but the next game now isn't until November, so it's not really going to affect us until November. So a cup run could be good, because by then, we might have started to click into gear. We might have started making a bit of an assault on the Championship. But yeah, the game itself, same issues still there. That's my main worry. The same issues are still there. All the possession in the world, all the passing in the world, but no penetration. And I'm giggling, and I shouldn't be giggling at that word, but I am. I'm 34 and I still giggle at the word penetration. But we need to be better. We do need to be better in possession. I like the new style. I like what company's trying to do, but we need to get better. And I do think it will come, if I'm being honest. The more times we play together, the more players that come in, I do think it will come. But happy days, we're through to the next round and on to Wigan.